Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Daily Dirty. Uh, don't really have a thought topic for this podcast. I decided to do a video trying to get a few different types of media out there and learning aspect. Like I said, I don't really like being on camera, but I'm trying to face some of those fears. Uh, so, a couple of my podcasts I have, it's on Spotify and Amazon, iHeartRadio. Just wanted to kind of give my couple weeks that I've been doing podcast and kind of give my experience. Uh, I don't know. There's some days that I do feel like doing some podcast. I think the biggest thing from my experience that I've kind of been looking into is where do I fit in? I mean, some of it's comedy, some of it's day to day. I mean, it's daily dirty. Just the things that go on in my life from day to day, dealing with different things, ADHD, my job, the dogs, my wife, uh, my wife. But so, like I said, getting viewers is kind of hard. I got a few friends that looked at them or listened to the ones that I have that there are no videos. They seem to enjoy it, but getting it out there is a little bit different now. I didn't pay for anything, but mainly the mic, the camera, and the sound mixer, which I'm still trying to get that part figured out. The XLRS doesn't seem to sound very good as far as volume, and I've adjusted it a lot of different ways. It's probably something that I missed or I'm missing. I just haven't put a whole lot of time into it. The rest of it's been pretty free. I mean, I'm not sponsored, of course. I just started out. Um, so Wave Room is who I've been using. I did work with a little bit on Riverside. I might kind of go over there and mess around with a little bit as well. And the reason why I did Wave Room, for me, I can just download just the audio if that's all I want. But if I want to put it on YouTube, I can also do video. Um, Again, it's not real professional. I gotta get in there and kind of tweak a few things. My lighting isn't really that great. I've tried a couple different things. So, um, but the idea is not the problem. It's more of finding time to put out some content. Um, Posting this is just, again, it's just showing how raw it is. I'm not putting all the spectacular filters and all that kind of stuff. Like, this is my office. I work in here for my job. I work 100% remote. I'm in IT, of course. And it's pretty raw. There are some softwares out there that I've kind of been looking at, or software, not softwares. Well, that'd be weird because it's multiple. Anyway, a lot of the software that I've been looking into, some of it you do have to pay. You can only do so much. And I've watched a few people on how to create a podcast for a beginner and the basics that you need, which is the hardware. You got to have a platform, come up with a name, do a design or like your logo or your thumbnail for what you're doing. And I kind of got that down pat for the most part on the name Daily Dirty. Actually, my wife came up with that. The rest of it is just, for me, it's finding time to do it. It's not about motivation. I just don't know what category to put it in. And I talked about this on one of my podcasts on Spotify. None of those are video. I might have one video that's up on that side, but this is mainly for the YouTube side. And I'm probably going to make another one for Spotify. I mean, I could just download the audio here, but the interesting thing is I'm talking about video and nobody can see me, right? As far as that, I mean, ideas are there. I was going to work with a coworker of mine that I've been friends with for about 8 years, a little over 8 years. But he's been pretty busy lately, and he's got other things he's got going on. My wife's got a lot of things going on as far as her craft shows that she builds her crafts and things. And I want to eventually kind of get that on some of my channels to kind of show that, because basically she would be sponsoring most of them. And I can get all the names and everything like that. I'll put it down in the description down at the bottom for that. But she makes these cool little cups, uh, and she's doing it with her sister. Um, they're just bracelets and keychains. I'm not wearing one right now because was supposed to go to the gym today, but we're going to do it later on. It's just it was too busy to be up there. We don't want family room that's real busy. Get our sweat on, a workout on. Trying to stay healthy. But other than that, I say it's hard for somebody like me that loves to talk. Like, I'm ADHD like bad. I mean, I talk a lot. Like, I constantly talk, and not having someone here next to me right now is limiting some of that, as far as not really ideas, but having that good conversation back and forth. And eventually, I'll get uh, a couple more people, to do some interviews with, or some side shows and things of that nature. Just haven't really got full fledged. I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm not doing it to make anything from it. I got a job. It's not the greatest job, but it's a job. Um, and I made an introductory video, but I wanted to kind of make a little bit better one, just to kind of put some of my experience that I've had so far from trying to get a podcast. I've watched so many. There's like a plethora of videos on podcasts for beginners, the things that you need. Some people say there's 5 things. Some people say there's 10 things. But from an IT standpoint, obviously you got the hardware and the software and the knowledge. Uh, and knowledge is knowledge of what you want to talk about. Um, Even if you don't have a background in IT, it's actually pretty simple to do the basics, which is what I have here. I just got pretty much the basic setup. Um, I haven't really got a lot of views. When I rewatched a little bit before I did this podcast, there's a lot of things that some of the AI software goes through, and it takes out the and and all the crap that I always say. I mean, if I want to cut out my cuss words, because I do cuss a lot. Surprisingly, I haven't cussed in this one yet. It might come, it might not. But there's also a barbecue sauce that I'm working on. It's going to be called the Daily Dirty. That I love cooking. My wife always encourages me to cook, with and make the sauces that I make. I just enjoy making it. I don't want to make it for a ton of people. I don't want to be a chef or anything, but I do enjoy cooking. Um, there's a again. I mean, again, my hobbies is I love building cars. I've built a lot of cars in my life. We moved out to the country. We live in Texas. Uh, we live literally 2 minutes away from Oklahoma border, on this side of Texas. We bought 10 acres of land back in 2017 with the VA loan, which I highly don't recommend it. It was a real pain in the ass. You're limited. It might have changed since then. I think a lot of rules have changed. Our next step now that, and I'm not going to get into politics, but now that, or which side I'm going for, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, I don't really vote, because it's, trying to find someone that's actually going to help the American people. I mean, you got Trump and you had Harris. You can look at their bank statement, because we're not even middle class. If this was like 5 years ago, we'd be middle class, but we're poor. And there's rich and there's poor. So we've lived here for a little over 7 years, but we're planning on moving back to the city. There's just more opportunity there. We don't even fit in where we're at. I mean, I like the country, but to visit, to live it's not that it's hard work. I mean, it is, but it's just, there's just too many things you got to deal with, and having ADHD and having 5 dogs, and My wife trying to get her little gig up and going. We live so far away from family. It's not that it's that far. It's like 2 hours. And Ben's gas has been really high. It's just a million things. Back in the city, things are a lot easier, I guess, because we were raised in the city. Don't get me wrong, I like the country, but it's just too much goes on. You always got to worry about rodents, spiders, well, any kind of insects, snakes, dumb fucking neighbors. See, I told you I was gonna cuss. In the city, people just ignore each other. Out here, it's just everybody wants to talk to you, and it's just like And how do you not be rude and saying, "Look, no disrespect. I moved out here for peace. You know, I didn't move out here to have neighborly friends. We didn't want that out here, and we ended up with it anyway. And there's always drama that's part of that as well. So it's like in the city, never suck, but for the most part, they stay to themselves. They do what they got to do. We do what we got to do. As long as there's no lines being crossed, you call it a day. Um, Trying to think if there's some other things that kind of go along with this video. Back on track. Sorry, just for a moment. So yeah, we're trying to move back to the city. Uh, we had our house up for sale earlier this year, which was 2024, but it's just the economy is such crap right now. We had a few tire kickers and some retarded real estate agents on that side, not our real estate agents. We had two. The first one was pretty good. She just never came out. It was too far for her to come way out here. And I found that company it's based out of California, but they have agents that are all over that people want to sell, places out in the country. And it's a nice place. I mean, if you just, 10 acres, you can hunt, you can shoot, you can build something. There's a ton of things that you can do on this property. And it's a pretty nice house. I'm not trying to sell my house on, YouTube or nothing, but I think we moved out here to kind of rediscover who we are and what we really wanted in life. And we're at that point. Both of us have different reasons of wanting to get a house built, like a barndominium, which the VA loan does now let you do that. But having that garage on the side big enough to where she can have her shop and places to do everything. Because right now it's like doing stuff on the kitchen table. Her office isn't really that big because it's basically the guest bedroom. So the bed's in there, and it's not, it's a pain having to, if we wanted to pick it up and put it down. But not only that, the dogs sleep on it. We got 5 huge ass dogs, 3 Great Danes and 2 something mixed dogs. They're not very big. They're probably 50. One of them's 50 to 60 pounds. The other one's like 85 pounds. Those are our little ones. But moving back to the city, I think is eventually is going to be pretty good because we can get the shop. I can go out and get my little car thing up and going. I want to rebuild my wife's Mini, like completely rebuild it. It's getting torn up out here in the country. I had a G37 that I loved, but I kind of gave it up getting a truck, thinking that moving out here would be a better life for us. And I think for the time it was. We had just gotten married, and we were not rediscovering, but discovering more things about what we like and what we like together. And I had a lot of drama I had to deal with getting on testosterone, since I never really had a very high testosterone level, and that was just a totally different mess of BS. Like I said, I'm looking at my wife kind of stuck through all the anger issues that I had going through that. It was, I'm not laughing because I'm just laughing because I'm lucky, Got that pretty much squared away. We're back in the gym somewhat. We've went through 3 gyms since we've been out here, and the one that we're going to now is pretty legit. It's a little bit more expensive than the last one we went to, but there's more free weights to be able to do more, and we both enjoy free weights. My wife grew up in a family where they're bodybuilders and things like that. Her dad, her brother did it. Her brother's freaking huge, but we're kind of far from everything. I don't really have much family. I don't want to get into why I don't have much family. Let's just say that uh, I ran away when I was 14 and I'm 50 now and I never looked back. I speak with my sister every now and again. I do have a sister. I got family in Florida that I've never physically met but talked on the phone. That's, you know, stuff like that. So I can literally move anywhere, but to be able to do what we really want to do, to be able to network more, I can do side gigs on top of the job that I currently have. On the weekends, I can, you know, buy and build cars like I used to. I mean, I made pretty decent money doing that, and I enjoy doing it. I don't like doing maintenance. I don't want someone driving up. It's like, hey, but you got to lift. You can change my oil. No, motherfucker, I can't. You got a driveway and a jack and jack stands. There you go. Have a nice day. Well, I don't know how to do it. Well, you're gonna pay me? Well, how much? Well, it's gonna be $100. Well, you're more expensive than the other people. Yeah, I know, because you're taking my time. That is not my job. That is their job. You pay them to do that, and that's what they do all day. I don't do that. I want to build cars. I don't want to do maintenance on cars, except my own cars. But that's kind of the goal we're going to get at. Again, my wife, she has a nice, cool little gig that she's doing with her sister. They make, bracelets and pin holder cups. They're actually really cool. Excuse me. We're actually doing our first market thing that we did is in Paris, Texas. Is where we did it. It was interesting. Uh, Kind of the first little market thing. You got like your little tent set up and you got everything kind of laid out and everything. And it was okay for what it was. It was a learning experience on some newer ideas moving on to the next. And that's the same thing, like why I make these videos for myself. And if anybody else sees this or even watches it, that although it's not professional or isn't the greatest quality like the ones that are out there, it's like, oh, this is what you do. And it's like their shit was made like they spent like a $300 or $400 just to make one video. I'm not doing all that shit. I'm raw, I'm daily dirty, man. It's just straight up raw. What you see is what you get. And if you're looking for all that fancy shit, then guess what? You can go on over to those other fancy videos that they, spend all this money to make it look professional. And I mean, and I'm not mad at them for doing that. I mean, if that's their main source of income, I mean, not really my thing. I mean, it'd be great to kind of get this out there to kind of educate people on my experience. And if they end up with the same experience, again, that's where I don't really know where to put my podcast at. I mean, I got it under comedy on Spotify because, I mean, I got a lot of funny shit that happens. There's some funny crap that happens out here in the country. But at the same time, I try to be a little serious too on some daily ADHD issues or dealing with certain things, dealing with the being a blue collar worker, you know, things that happen at work that I'm sure that people can share of how, honestly, I had to overcome a lot. Where I work at now was the first, besides the military, was the first full time non contract work that I did because I was a contractor from 2001 up till like 2016. Contract's easy. You go in, you do a job, you bid on how much you want to get paid, you get paid, you handle up, you move on to the next one. You don't deal with the other BS. Downside is you don't get vacation unless you take a break in between your contracts. No health benefits, and you're never going to get hired on. I changed at the current job that I got now. And I'm not going to say it because, you know, I don't even know people that say stuff about their regular job on podcast or YouTube or whatever. It seems they always got your eye on your business and shit. They're like, oh, well, I saw that you made a video about us and you kind of slandered us or you're talking this or talking that. And then that's all I need is get fired over some dumbass shit, which happens all the time. It's like, oh, you hurt my feelings. Well, motherfucker, get some tougher feelings. Quit being a bitch. A lot of bitches. A lot of whiny bitches. So, and this thing is focusing in and out, in and out. It's like, hey, that's like $160 webcam. Didn't mean to buy it, but I needed it in a pinch and put it on a credit card. Anyway, so this one's gonna probably end here in a minute or so, but I just want to kind of put some, like I said, some content out there. And my experience so far is slow. It could be because I've only uploaded, this will be my ninth. Well, this will be my third video that's on YouTube. And I'll probably make an audio only podcast for Spotify and all the rest of them, because you can kind of transfer everything. All that stuff is free. So far, I haven't really ran into any glitches or anything like that. But the hardest things for me, one is I don't like being on camera. I look weird in my eyes, and I probably really do. But I'm very critical of myself. How I talk, I got a really bad country accent. I just can't seem to get away from. Uh, Speaking without saying I know, but so shit like that, cuss words, and I don't know if it's because I'm lazy or cheap. There's some software I could probably go through and edit and do all this other kind of stuff, but I like the raw version. And I think when you put all that stuff in, it does look great and neat and a nice little package and everything. But later on, I might get into that if it gets a little bit more serious. Right now, this is just like just a hobby. And if there's folks out there that has the means or the money, by all means, actually is, get that software. I mean, if it could be something that you learn, it might give you, something for a side gig. Because right now, money is the hardest thing for everybody. Um, I'm the sole provider for my family. I like it that way, but also my wife does have the option to do what she wants to do. And I told her that when we got married. I was like, I want you to be able to do whatever you want to do. It's your choice of which one to do. We don't have kids. We can't have kids. We don't want kids. So it was a godsend on that one. So, but we do got 5 dogs. I like having 5 kids. But I thought I was going to be making more money by now with the place that I work at. But no, that I'm not going to get into all that on this YouTube channel. It's don't want to be negative. So 5 things. One is deciding whether video or if you just want to do audio. Video is a little bit harder just personally for me, and these are just my personal experiences right now. I'm trying to grow more into the videos because I think on YouTube it might be a bigger platform. I haven't decided to put anything up on TikTok yet because, again, I don't even know what to talk about. This I can talk about. It's easy. TikTok is just about a flash of some dumb shit. You got like, what, 30, maybe 90 seconds at the most to upload something, and our upload speed here sucks in the country. So that might be something later on down the road if I continue to do this. And I'm not giving up at all. It's just finding time to kind of put more into it. Um, there are ways I could have done it with just my iPhone or something like that, but I wanted more of I'm that kind of person. I want the hardware to kind of give me a little bit more of an edge because I'm already trying to, it helps me figure it. I'm a hardware guy. If I can touch it, it helps make sense to me better. Platforms that I've tried as far as uploading, I've used this one right here, which is Waveroom, and it's really, really simple. And I'm not saying that because I'm an IT guy. I mean, just because I'm IT don't mean I know how to do software and shit. Like my wife's always asked me, how do I do this? I'm like, I don't know. We're your IT. If it's not hardware or if it's something I don't currently do, I don't know what the fuck it is. You probably know more than I do. But so Waveroom has been really good to me so far. You can kind of split it up. You can make it to where it can just be audio and video, and it's got a denoise button on there that kind of takes some of the raspiness out. But that's also why you kind of buy something that's got this little filter. It kind of gets rid of some of the way you speak. It doesn't get the puff of air, something like that. Um, and then it was free to upload it. You create an account over at Spotify. Spotify has a way where you can put it across a couple of platforms. The other problem that I ran into is if you're wanting to do Apple, I haven't tried it yet, but on my personal phone, I have my personal email. It's not this email or even this account. I would have to change it and I'll be able to put one on there. I reached out to support with them and they couldn't help me out. They just basically said, you have to just redo everything. And I'm just like, I don't want to redo everything, but I do have an iPad that I might try to do it on and see if that works, because there are a lot that uh, other platforms that podcasts are on for Apple. But so far, Spotify, let me put it on iHeartRadio, Amazon, and that's kind of it right now. Though I think there was a couple, but they're all tied to a um, Apple. I think their Google might have a podcast. I'm probably going to look into that as well. Marketing yourself, I haven't really got into that as of yet. I've kind of been watching a couple of videos and trying to learn more about that aspect of it. I I understand what marketing is. I've worked at a bunch of firms that they did marketing and the concept behind it. Excuse me for a second. Some wings. Um, so there's some things that are out there. Working on some artwork more for the logo for Daily Dirty. It's got the DD. My wife did that in Canva. It was like she did it like in seconds. I'm like, I can't even, I've been there all freaking day. I mean, I'm not artistic at all. She's very artistic. So um, there's a thing like for YouTube. There's a way to kind of put a banner up there and things of those natures. I'm going to look into that as well, because I kind of want to do a collage of stuff that I've talked about, which is, my wife and I, the dirt road, because the dirt road that we live on and our pups. And I kind of want to do like a collage there. And there's some software that I kind of try to do it, but just sizing the pictures, and I just haven't really put a lot of effort into it. I'm gonna be dead honest with you. There's ways that are doing it. My wife would probably do it, but I don't want to disturb her because they're trying to do a product for the next marketplace that they're doing in December. Um, I will be working on some not hot sauce. It's kind of an everyday sauce. Like I've used it on steak. We love some steak. Use it on steak, chicken wings. I can't eat pork anymore, so I haven't really tried it on ribs. But it's a sauce that I use. I've marinated it. I've barbecued it. I've air fried with it. Also use it as a dipping sauce. So I might get those out for spring or something like that. But working on again logos and perfecting that recipe, because me, I do it by taste, and well, ain't nobody gonna want me sticking my fingers in each jar, right? So I got to get down my right amounts of measurement for each thing to get it right where it needs to be. That way I can make it consistently. There's a lot that goes into this show. So it's like, man, I don't want to do that. Am I lazy? Yeah, probably. So, but that's another thing. The reason why I'm stating that is like, while you're also doing this, in my personal opinion, in my experience, is you can kind of promote a few things. Like I'm going to eventually start promoting my wife's little company that they have, where they're going to be my sponsor. Um, and then I'll be able to get my barbecue sauce out there as well. Um, but yeah, that's just kind of the daily dirty of what I got with a couple of weeks of my podcast experience. It's not that it's hard or a whole lot of time consuming. It's just, if you're wanting it to kind of just explode, in my personal opinion, it hasn't, or I don't know if it will or it won't. I'm not trying to be positive or negative about it. I don't know. It's kind of a crapshoot. I think it's one of those things to where if you have the right thing that somebody likes and it ends up saying, "Hey, check out this podcast that I saw or that I heard, this guy or gal, it's pretty cool." And another thing that I've learned also, and I haven't had an experience of that yet, and I want to make a video about it later on once I do is having another person there with you. It's communication with another person kind of makes things a little bit more interesting. There's more dialogue and things of that nature. So if anybody that's, and this isn't a how-to video, this is again my personal experience of, and it's raw. It's not me adding all the filters and all the money that people put into it, and or the time invested in it. Because again, this is just something that I don't even know where it's going. Just a few people thought, hey, you already do a podcast. You got kind of that voice, and I'm like, hmm. They're like, well, when we talk to you, you just kind of seem you can calm people down, and I'm like, hmm. Or when you talk, people listen. I don't know. I never consider me that kind of person. I love helping people out as much as I can. I don't I don't let nobody take advantage of me. I had to learn a big lesson with that. So again, if you're wanting to kind of do this, just get out and do it. You never know what can happen. I mean, I don't think it's a lottery ticket. It's kind of what I call it. You get what you put into it. You get out what you put into it. Actually, so one day it might catch somebody's eye and they spread it like wildfire, or it's just people are just going to ignore it. I mean, only thing I've gotten so far is just people that I know that I said, hey, I kind of got that podcast going that you talked about if you want to hear it. And some of it's good. A lot of it is really good. Some corrective criticism or, some tips of what they see. A lot of it, I probably can cut it out if I wasn't lazy, is the pauses and the BS and the ums and nos and, and man and shit, that you say. Because you sit there and you think whenever you're talking to somebody, you start saying those things that you don't really talk. Because I'm talking, to myself here. I don't see an audience out there like these other people. Like, oh, I'm just talking to the audience. Motherfucker, what are you seeing? You got like a fake audience right there. Anyway, my mind doesn't work like that. So just try it and do it. See what it does. People have gotten successful off of it. Me, I like it as a hobby. It kind of helps me get out of my comfort zone of I'm not saying that I'm shy. I don't like being on camera. I don't like the way I look. I don't like how I talk whenever I hear myself. And I think everybody has a little bit of that in them, but me, it's for facing a fear and something to do. So yeah, just go for it. You don't really need a whole lot. I spent a little bit of money. See, what's this microphone called? Monosto or something. I got it off of Amazon. I think I spent like with the stand and everything like that, and it's an was it XLRS or some shit? Because it's a better sounding microphone. It gets rid of some of the noise and some of the other stuff. It's just a little bit more stable. I think I spent like $70 on it. Then I got this G10 mixer off of Amazon as well, and I spent I think it was a little over $100. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's supposed to be really good, but I don't know if I got a dud or whatever. But the volume it's like I have to turn the volume all the way up on everything. And if you heard some of my earlier podcasts, I think it was like my first or second one, you can barely hear what I'm saying. And then the next one, just like, because you had to turn it up loud, when you go on to the next one, it's just like real loud. So right now I got it plugged straight into my computer, and there's some software that kind of helps out with that. The main reason I wanted that is because, again, I got to try to work on some intros, maybe a deeper voice, someone saying Daily Dirty, hosted by John Croft, and then maybe like some clapping shh. I don't know. It sounds corny to me, but I don't know. We'll get into it. But I don't want to make this video too long because I got to let it go through its process, and then I got to download it, and then I got to upload it and do a bunch of dumb shit. And again, our upload speed's like a 4. But if anybody's out there watching and you want to do this and kind of this, again, this is just the raw, basic, unfiltered. Like, I didn't use any software on none of my shit. Like, it's my ugly face. I didn't use the Beautiful filter. I got no lighting. It's coming in and shining on my dome. My office is a mess. Chairs all torn the fuck up. But and I'm drinking on the job. It's not alcohol. Vaping, but other people vape. But got this from my wife. Banana taffy freeze. So if you want to do it, just go out there and do it. You see, it can't be any worse than my shit. You know, I haven't really got any views. I don't know if I will or I won't, but it gives me something to do. So hopefully, if anybody out there is watching this, you can kind of look into it. You can always comment. I mean, I got very thick skin, so say what the fuck you got to say. And if you start talking some shit, I'm going to ignore you because, you know, I'm not trying to give you an excuse just to talk shit. You know, I'm not a keyboard warrior. I don't deal with dumb shit or dumb by crap that you just want to start shit because you're bored. You know, make your own podcast about starting shit. You know, podcasts out there for everything. But if anybody, you know, has any questions of anything, I can get you the names of the crap that I got or what I use, uh, or simply just say hi. You know, it's not. It depends on the person of how hard it is. Again, I don't like being on a camera. I don't like the sound of my voice, but I'm just doing it for a lot of different things to, you know, hobby and everything. And I've already explained all that shit. Again, another thing about ADHD is you repeat a bunch of shit. So I don't want to continue doing that. So if you want to, just drop something, say hi or whatever, or your experience would be great. Give me a link to yours. Let me view yours. And maybe I can learn something from you as well, you know, or I wouldn't say as well, because I don't know if you're going to learn anything from me, but you know, you could or you couldn't, but maybe there's something I can learn or something that works better for you or something that you found that works pretty great. I see that on YouTube, but there's stuff that they put, it's their main job. You know what I'm saying? So they're putting a ton of effort into it. You know, if you're putting a ton of effort into something and it's your main job of source of income, hey, that's great. If you're making money off of it and you enjoy it, that's great. I'm not doing all that shit. You know, I just ain't, you know, I either you enjoy it or you don't. But again, I am going to get this one processed and I'm going to do an audio one without talking about video and all that lovely stuff up to Spotify. This one's going on YouTube. So again, drop a line, say hello, tell me some of your experiences. I love to hear from people. And it's not about clickbait. I'm not trying to get famous off this. It's just, it's something to do. And if you enjoy just having a conversation or sharing your experiences about you starting your podcast, let me know, or some things that work for you. Because I'm very new at this. You know, I'm just telling y'all what I've got so far and what I've done so far. So it could help anybody else that's in there or watches this. They can read it and it can help other people. I am about helping people again, like I said. So again, thank you for your patience to kind of going through this. Again, the name of the podcast is The Daily Dirty. I'm John Croft, and have a great day.